Hey, what's up, guys? This video is to just talk about my ownership for this week's Wells Fargo Championship. So here it is, flat out. It's sorted by salary, so you can see these are the highest owned players at the top. And then if you see how many lineups I have them here in column Z and the percentage of lineups that they're in column AA, which is exposure. 111 lineups in the $3 Birdie on DraftKings. So let's just talk about a couple of these guys. We'll talk about Rory here. Rory at 24% owned for me it's honestly, it's kind of a hedge. I have no idea what his ownership is going to be this week. He's by far the most expensive player. He's by far the biggest favorite, even though it's a really deep field. I don't know what his ownership is going to be. If it turns out to be 12%, I'll be pretty thrilled that I have 24% of Rory. If it turns out to be 30%, I'll probably be okay. This is just kind of a hedge for me, which I'm not a huge fan of doing, but I think it's viable here. The next couple guys, nothing against Ricky Fowler, just I think there's better options. Adam Scott, just kind of a fade for me this week. We'll get down here to Justin Rose, who I'm hoping I'm going to have a lot more exposure to than the rest of the field. He missed the cut last week at the Zurich, just putted really terribly. Other than that, he was excellent. I think he can get it going this week. I do not discount how much more how much more rest he got than everybody else who actually had to play through Monday at the Zurich. So he was at Quail Hollow nice and early this week. I think he's still one of the best players in the world. I've been talking about him constantly. I'm hoping Justin Rose's ownership in a deep field like this, after missing a cut, after being highly owned last week, is going to be, 10%. If it was anything less than that, I'd be absolutely thrilled. I'm hoping to have significant more of him than the rest of the field. A couple guys here in Matsuyama and Holmes. Holmes, again, another guy I talked about all week. He's only $9,100, has won this tournament in the past. This is a bomber's course. I've talked about him enough. I have plenty of him. Matsuyama's really interesting. Honestly, I have so much of him just because he's underpriced. He's one of the best players in the world. He's outstanding tee to green. He is phenomenal tee to green, actually. It's really just his putting that is below average. And, we've seen at times his putter can get hot and he can run away with the tournament or something like that. But he really doesn't need to do that. He just needs to putt okay. He needs to putt average because he's so good tee to green. Another guy who's just kind of sneaky long that I think can really contend, and I have his stats up here. So here is Matsuyama's season, and as you can see, he has not played since the Masters where he had a T7. Outside of the cut at the Farmers Insurance, which had all that crazy wind, that was absolutely just a completely nutty tournament. He's made the weekend in every tournament that he has not withdrawn from. So withdrew from the Honda, withdrew from the WGC, before the new year. Other than that, he's been pretty excellent. He won the Waste Management against Ricky in a playoff. T11 at the Northern Trust. The guy's constantly in contention. So for someone who's just not one of the most popular players on tour, especially in terms of ownership, he's always under-owned. And I just think this week he's underpriced. So I ended up with a lot more than I probably would have liked, but it's just one of those things where, the price is too good. I'm willing to have that much exposure to him. A couple other guys to point out. I just kind of split this salary here on same salary, just kind of split the entries on Chappell and Lovemark. Love the way Lovemark's playing. He's long. He fits this course really well. My concern is that he had to play, through all the rain delays all week last week. He comes up, loses in a playoff. What's that going to do to him mentally? Is he tired? He gets here late. So, I like Lovemark if I knew, if he got out of the Zurich on time and was just ready to rock and roll, I'd really like him. But I kind of cut back a little bit. You'll kind of see a trend here as I go down, like guys like Kazire, who's just a big beast of a man. Tony Finau just hits the long ball. You'll see I've really aggressively targeted guys who can hit the long ball. Graham Dillette is that guy for me. $7,400. I was looking over here. $7,400 is his salary. He can hit it pretty long. He's just a really, really solid player who has been so close to winning before. A few weeks back, if this was a month or two ago, he'd probably be in the $8,000-9,000 range. I think this is just a really good price for him. Brendan Steele is a guy we've talked about recently. This is probably a little more than I would have set out to have of Brendan Steele, but again, a solid player who's starting to play well recently. And then finally, the value guy that I have a lot of is Lucas Glover. Again, I've been talking about Glover for a couple weeks. He's just a really solid player. I think he kind of got the bad end of the draw at the Zurich last week. I had a ton of him. He goes 3 under through the first 2 rounds, but he didn't get to finish the second round. He had to come out and finish it the next day after he was playing well. And then, his fleet that he was in, the group of players, that the timing for the Zurich last week was just really bad. He never got it going. He finished at 6 under, and he was 6 under after the first 2 rounds, and you have to make a ton of birdies to win in New Orleans. So it just didn't happen for him. But I still like his game a lot. Only $6,300. I think he's a really great play. So if I sort this by exposure, you'll kind of see my top owned guys, and you'll see it's Matsuyama and Holmes, a lot of Dillette and Rose, and kind of hedges on Stenson and McIlroy. So there it is. Staying away from Patrick Reed and Phil Mickelson, and it's nothing against those guys. It's just I think there's better options out there this week, and that's who I'm rostering. So good luck us. I hope you enjoyed. See ya.